Good morning, everyone. Please have a seat and turn your liturgy books to page 2.
refuge in Buddha.
I take refuge in Dharma.
I take refuge in Dharma.
I take refuge in Sangha.
I take refuge in Sangha.
The five remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life, rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers, for the lineage of teachers before them. I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, and may their vows be completely realized, and may I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and guidance, I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion, may all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness and the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have a joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Please stand and turn to page 5. Just in page 6.
Absorbing world sounds awakens the Buddha right here, this Buddha. recall this moment after moment. The true heart arises time after time. There is nothing but this absorbing world sounds awakens a Buddha right here. This Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices in the light. Recall this in the dark. Recall this moment after moment. The true heart arises time after time. There is nothing but this absorbing world sounds awakens a Buddha right here. This Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices in the light. Recall this in the dark. Recall this moment after moment. The true heart arises time after time. There is nothing but this.
Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All that is and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the six worlds, and dedicated and grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the Great Heartland Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be clear from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to Jenny, Shauna, Emily, Keith and Jillian, Aunt Angie, Wayne, Sarah, and Vicky, John, Gloria, at the time of their death, as well as the names we hold in the silence of our hearts and those names we now voice aloud. Kids and drum school teachers, please meet in the front room. Everyone else, please prepare for zazen. At the sound of the clappers, first and third rows, turn to your right, second and back rows, turn to your left. We will now recite the Sabbath Covenant, which is on page 8 of the liturgy book. We, the Daishin Kokuchi Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others.
This morning, I'd like to ask those who are sitting in the front rows and chairs, if you wouldn't mind moving to the back, and others who are comfortable sitting on the floor, fill in so that we can all see. You're also welcome to come further to the front if you care to.
Gata on opening the sutra is also on page 8 of the liturgy. Gata on opening the sutra.
So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for choosing to spend some time here at the Buddhist Temple of Toledo. You know, all of us are engaged in the life, right? There are pushes, there are pulls, there's joys and sorrows, wins, losses, the whole up and down. And sometimes folks come into training hoping, expecting that that's just going to stop. If I get my Zen on, my Zen going, then everything will just be nice. Well, no. In fact, you know, my teacher's famous to be anyway, infamous, I guess, for when I started feeling like everything's all smooth and hunky-dory and even, keels are all even and all that. She had this incredible way of throwing some dust in my eye, sprinkling some sand where I had just swept, so it seemed to me anyway. And it used to amaze me. How does he know? But the truth is that really all the Roshi was doing for me was providing a way for me to interface with reality. And honestly, reality itself will do that just fine. Except somehow we seem to miss it, don't we? Somehow we seem to encounter something other than just the reality in some way. And this gap, this distance, this separation between ourselves and our lives that feels somehow so close that we can't breathe and so distant that it's unreachable, this becomes a kind of a living cage of near misses, of feeling like somehow we just can't quite dig in, we can't quite make it count, we can't quite feel like we're there. Do you know what I'm saying? And if you do, in some moments, the moment changes, and then, oh, shit, I'll get it back. So this is not unique to you, This is not some particularly unique problem. This is, I think, in a sense, inherent in having a sophisticated nervous system and language and a brain as evolved as ours seems to us to be. And yet there is a way, Buddha taught, to see the causes of our suffering and actually address them. To help shed some light on this, I cite the old case. This is the Blue Cliff Record, case 65. The Hindu questions Buddha. Introduction. Manifestation without form fills all space. It is so expansive. Response without minding extends over lands and seas without any trouble. Understanding three corners when one corner is raised, judging grains and ounces at a glance, even to rain down blows of the staff and shout like moving thunder, still does not amount to the activity of one who goes beyond. So, what about the one who goes beyond? In the case, a Hindu questioned Buddha. I do not ask about the spoken. I do not ask about the unspoken. In response, Buddha maintained a noble silence. After some time, the Hindu said in praise, "The world honored one's great kindness and great compassion, parted the clouds of my confusion, and enabled me to see through." Then he took his leave. After the Hindu had gone, Ananda, Buddha's attendant, asked, what did the Hindu realize that he had so seen through? Buddha looked at Ananda and said, like a good horse, he goes on seeing the shadow of the whip. Now this case is one of the many that we have that are selected from the Pali Canon, the earliest traditions taken from the oral teachings and practices and eventually written down. It's likely this encounter happened. It occurred in many sources. However, not Hindu, as we would recognize today. Hinduism itself is a constellation of beliefs and practices that what we would think of today didn't really organize itself recognizably back in Buddha's day. These sort of preliminary cursors of this Brahmanism is what was happening today, and have evolved to become what we would call Hindu. So I might change my quibble a touch with the translation. I would say practitioner of the Brahman way, something like that. But anyway, the main point is that this is someone who was not within the Sangha. That's the relevant point. This is not one of Buddha's disciples. This is not someone who had taken refuge or received the robe or was practicing in any obviously recognizable way, and yet this person from quote-unquote outside the Sangha came to Buddha and asked a question. In here we find something that I think is particularly important and relevant to stress, that this truth of awakening, this truth of seeing into our natures, is not some trademark owned brand by the Buddhists or the Zen folks. It's an incredibly human thing. It is a deeply human truth of who we are. There are organized ways of entering into that truth, but that truth belongs to us all. It is not the exclusive purview of any one group. However, to access it, somewhere along the line, you've got to push your nickel down and say, let's do it. And thus we have approaches and practices and ways of entry. So, this person who was not obviously practicing under Buddhist tutelage made their way to ask. So this is a public dharma combat kind of situation. We do that here. A couple of times a year, the temple doors are open. Anyone who's here can come forward and ask a question and respond to the challenge. In this case, someone from outside the Sangha walked right up and engaged. Delicious, right? And interestingly now, notice, the Hindu or the non-Buddhist, non-Sangha member asks a very intimate question. Listen carefully. I do not ask about the spoken, and I do not ask about the unspoken. Now that is a hell of a question. That is a really good prompt, right? There's some chutzpah in that. This is not simply there are other stories where Brahmins, understudy is sent to go and slice and dice to hierarchical teachers, with their philosophical rubrics, that are designed to negate anyone else's view. And this is not what's happening here. This is not an intellectual jousting. This is not a metaphysical duel over rival concepts of some kind. In fact, very much not. I do not ask about the spoken, and I do not ask about the unspoken. And then what happens? If your mind is attached to the language, you kind of have this ... and well, what are you asking about then? Right? Because you're waiting for the other line to drop. Doesn't happen. Something else happens. Some other kind of embodied communication is going on. Some other kind of presentation is occurring. And in response, Buddha maintained noble silence. So what happened in the ... And what is this noble silence that's in response? That's what needs to be seen into here. And not just in a tale from ancient times of some mild interest, some quizzical thought, but actually a living, breathing pointer that is as absolutely alive and juicy as it was in this very moment, centuries and cultures ago. I do not ask about the spoken. I do not ask about the unspoken. And in response, Buddha maintained silence. That's what the language tells us. Because after all, it's a text, it's a book, it's a story. We need some language. But don't be fooled by the language. It's not just that the Buddha maintained noble silence, the Buddha also presented something. what was presented. You know, sometimes these kinds of things occur here. They do. There are moments where, beyond words and ideas, the body communicates. Your energy, or whatever you want to say. There's a knowing, there's a connection that happens. It's like, you know, when you're playing with a really good band, the groove just sinks in. If you try to put that shit on a spreadsheet, you kill it. Right? There's just this. Right? There's just this thing that starts to happen. Or the third of the room falls forward for no apparent reason. Why? Because it's communicating, you see. That's why ringing the bell is training. It's not just some get this thing done to the right. That's teaching, it's practice, there's a felt feeling. You have to be willing to get in there and be like, what's going on? Because then you can start to feel it, see? Right? It's sensitivity, it's a felt, palpable connection. You know what I'm talking about, I hope. We've all felt it. And you know what? You've also felt it when you get into a situation you're like, no. Trust that shit. Hear me on this. Trust your instinct. Trust your heart. When your body and your guts and your heart are saying, oh, I don't know about this, you pay attention to that shit. Especially as you start to learn to settle down, right? And you start to get some real equanimity going for real. Because that clears away a lot of the gook. A lot of the stuff that gets your head spinning and disoriented. Calm down. And now if something arises from that, you listen to that. People think that koan study is about solving some exotic puzzle from a bygone age. Not hardly. No, it's about bringing that beautiful, impeccable ability that you have to meet the moment. An appropriate response. And for that, you have to trust yourself. So when this non-sangha friend comes right up front and center, notice it's not like that person's barred from coming before Buddha. No. Buddha's like, yeah, bring it. And when that person comes up, Buddha doesn't know what the person's going to say. Maybe one day you'll find yourself sitting somewhere around here in that situation. You see that happen. Of course, day of life, it happens all the time, right? That next conversation with that person, you have no idea what's coming. But in this case, the person's given entrance into this formal setting. So that's something. I do not ask about the spoken. I do not ask about the unspoken. And there's a presencing that happens. Now, the Buddha responded in noble silence. What I can tell you in my experience is that the response of an awakened being is exactly appropriate to the mind of the person they're responding to. It's just box on lid. It's exact meaning. Now, whether or not the practitioner gets it, or finds it to be a welcome response, is a completely separate thing. But it will be exactly what one needs. It's like if you go to a physician, you want them to be honest with you. What's going on here? Right? nice, clean, clear communication, even if it's unwelcome news. You want the real news. Because without that, you can't decide what to do. You don't know what you're dealing with. So in this case, what I feel from this expression is that this non-Sangha member, quote unquote, shows up and presents something very powerful. Something that's there's just a little bit of layer, not a hell of a lot, between that person's Dharma eye and awakening. It's a thin little layer of dust, so to say. And it's in encountering that, okay, that the Buddha's response comes. This is not some shtick that the Buddha has waiting to let play. This is not some, open the playbook and I'll do movement number 5 here we go. It's not like that. Incidentally, that's what happened. Dharma combat turned into a highly ritualized, entirely pre-scripted kind of play, and it completely crushed the life out of it, according to my experience. When Maizumi Roshi and others came to this country, they said, no. It's going to be a real Dharma combat. Thank goodness. So the Buddha's response, it's not just a negative, that's like the Buddha didn't say anything. The Buddha responded impeccably to this query. And they had some kind of connection. They had some kind of connection that went on. Now, whether or not you could feel it in the room, I think that depends on where you're at. That's perfect. After some time, the visitor suddenly spoke in praise. World-honored one's great kindness and great compassion parted the cloud of my confusion and enabled me to see clearly. He made his bows and left. Was that just, okay, this is awkward, how do I get out of here? Oh, lovely, thank you. I don't think so. In fact, I know not, at least from the exchange we had here. Sometimes people may use formality and praise as a mask, right? As a way of hiding or escaping, evading, or disassociating. It's a pleasant way of hiding, granted, but it's still hiding and therefore not acceptable. You don't want a pleasant way to hide from your life, do you? I mean, what do you get? It's a bad trade. So, after this clearly seeing practitioner now left, Ananda, who's always this character, this is Buddha's cousin, right? And Ananda famously he was one of those people that could just remember shit, like the Buddha would give a talk, and Ananda had this kind of mind that could just recall, right? And it's helpful to realize that in this day, like the cultures of oral transmission of knowing, there was a class of folks that was their gig. They would spend their life remembering a certain teaching and passing it down. It exists to this day. No, it's not quite as impossible as it may sound. Anyway, this person who's very good with words and very close to Buddha, it's kind of like if you ever see the Dalai Lama give a talk and his translator's like right there. That's kind of the Ananda figure. He's always right there, right? He's Buddha's personal Jisha for decades, his cousin no less. And he's always got the words right. but he never received from Buddha directly. Interesting. Meaning, he was never acknowledged as fully awakened by Buddha. So the same Ananda I'm speaking about, he, after the friend had left, he turns to Buddha and says, what did he realize? That he has clear seeing. What did he see? I can kind of feel something of Ananda's heart there. Like, what? I've been in this for like decades. I'm like checking all the boxes and doing all the right stuff. I'm remembering everything you say. What did he get? Who is this guy? What's his name? Wait, what happened here? Maybe. Right? I often think of Louis Armstrong when he first showed up in Chicago, dressed like a country bumpkin from down south, looked completely unlikely to be this incredible talent that it was. And he shows up to play in King Oliver's band, and the other guys in the band are like, not letting that yacht on stage with us. Because, they're city slickers now, right? They got their suits of zooting, and they got their horns, and everything's happening, but they're sweet, what does this country do with overalls and a straw hat and a straw, and he's got his wearing a paper bag that also has sandwiches normally for him. This is what we're looking at here. And these people are like, no. And King Oliver's like, yeah, come on up, son, right? And so Louis comes up, and as soon as he puts that horn on his mouth, boom. And all the suits and all the crew looking like, whoa. Something like that happened here. Something like this. To people who can play and you can feel this is a thing you can feel, right? So this was happening. And then I said, what the hell? What was that? Buddha responded, like a good horse, he goes on seeing the shadow of the whip, meaning even in just the shadow of the whip, a good horse knows to correct. Centuries later, Suzuki Roshi would famously say, there's the horse that moves at the shadow of the whip, there's the horse that just needs to feel a little bit of a zip, and there's the horse that just needs to hit hard to go, oh, And Suzuki famously claimed to be the third kind. I think most of us are, honestly, when you think about it. But Buddha is pointing to the fact that, again, this practitioner, this non-Sangha member, was so close. Just that intimate connection needed to happen. And what was required for that to happen? Really? Is that the head had to stop spinning with ideas and stories about triumph and victimhood and the whole mess. Something else has to happen that those stories will never be able to reach. Master Ta Hui, playing in the same key centuries later, would say this in the letter: constantly calculating and making plans. Constantly calculating and making plans. Flowing along the ups and downs of birth and death, becoming afraid and becoming agitated. All these are sentiments of discriminating consciousness. Becoming afraid and agitated. You can't be agitated without that kind of discriminating consciousness being in the driver's seat of your experience. That's how it happens. Yet people studying the path these days do not recognize this disease and just appear or disappear in the midst. Coming and going, all the while just up and down, just wishing to stay up the whole time. Or maybe couldn't everything just even out? And it doesn't reach it. In the teachings, it's called acting according to discriminating consciousness, not acting according to wisdom. Thereby they obscure the scenery of the fundamental ground. They obscure their own original face. And that's what I think is happening here. This so-called Hindu who comes before, and in some way is able to say, I'm not asking about the words, and I'm not asking about beyond the words, not the words. And he presents what? And the Buddha's response affirms what? What happened? More importantly, what's happening here? What's happening for you and me in our lives as they actually are? What does it mean to be truly intimate with what's actually occurring? And not to be caught in this relentless storm of story and meaning and heroism and victimhood and all everything else. What does it mean to just be? To let yourself settle down for real. Not as a corpse. Not as some unfeeling thing that isn't engaged. There was a deep feeling and connection between these two cats. It's not just being like a stone. It's not going to catch it. That's just another escape. It doesn't work. You have to feel deeply. You have to be rooted deeply, feel deeply, see clearly, and engage. Well, appropriate. A Hindu question, Buddha. I do not ask about the spoken, I do not ask about the unspoken. Buddha maintained no silence in response. After some time, the Hindu said in praise, suddenly, the world honored one's great kindness and great compassion, have parted the clouds of my confusion and enabled me to penetrate. The compassion of the Buddha to not get tripped up in words is so amazingly great. After the Hindu had left, Ananda asked Buddha, what did the Hindu realize? That he said he had clear seeing and penetrated the Dharma. Buddha looked at him and smiled, like a good horse. He goes on, correctly seeing just the shadow of the whip. Well, now it's our turn. Maybe so.
Are we closing? Are the kids back? Paging the children. Where they come. We're going to do the vows on page 8, the sun vows. I Thank you for coming, everyone.
I know.
Okay, I know we have some announcements. Start.
Welcome everyone. If it's your first time here or one of your first times, thank you so much for practicing with us today. You're welcome to stay for our potluck lunch, hang out, get to know people, ask any questions you have. You can also sign a visitor form on the way out the door if you want to be on our mailing list and learn about things like I'm about to talk about. There's a couple of events that are coming right up. One of them is our teachings retreat. Starts in a week and 2 days. And that is an opportunity Tuesday through Saturday, the 11th through the 15th, to get to know the harmony of the relative and absolute, one of our liturgical pieces, in a great intimate way, and to get to know the community that way. It's just during the day, it's not a sleepover, and you can come for just parts of it or the whole thing. We'd love to know what your plans are about coming, so please register. Registration ends on the 4th, so sign up for that. And that all kind of comes to a roaring conclusion with Sangha Arts Night. So Sangha Arts Night is an opportunity to perform or present your art and to participate as audience and observer of that. And we'd also like you to register and sign up for that very soon. So that's Saturday night, right after Teachings Retreat. Hope to see everybody there. Finally, for me, session that we're sort of slowly moving toward the Jukai session at the end of July, early August. And if you would like to attend an intensive meditation retreat for the first time and you haven't yet, please contact me, Reverend Weekday, about what that journey might look like for you. Thank you.
Will the week-long retreat, teaching retreat be on Zoom?
Oh, thank you. Yes, the week-long teaching retreat, July 11th through 15th, is fully hybrid. So for those who are watching from afar, you can participate fully in that as well. And it will be recorded for people who have to miss parts of it. So we hope everyone can enjoy and participate. Yeah, just a quick couple things. I wanted you all to keep the Teen Dharma in your intentions next weekend. We will be undertaking our teen retreat Saturday through Sunday. So that's so exciting. There's 5 young bodhisattvas going to be participating in that, and we're very excited for that. But I also wanted to put a plug in for Toledo Pride, which is August 18th, I believe, or 19th, I can't remember. But I put a sign-up sheet on the Facebook page, but if you aren't on Facebook, please send me or just get me your email, and I'll get you the sign-up sheet. We want to kind of have an idea of who can sit at the fun booth and do all that fun stuff and walk in the parade. So please get with me on that. I know it's a month out or so, but it helps us coordinate. Thank you.
Hi friends, my name is Chujin. I cordially invite you to attend the 2nd annual Chillin' with Chujin. It will be held tomorrow night because of the inclement weather, but it's a potluck. Come to my house. Information is on our Facebook page. We'll have yard games, a lot of fun, and it will conclude with fireworks being hosted by the Belmont Country Club. I really hope you all can attend.
Please restore the Zendo.
So
And the carpet master,